With this episode, I would say there's a little bit of a mixed bag here with the Calgary Hitmen. Plus, this episode we're also going to be covering what happened in the Corral Series games. And in a separate video, I also will give my experience on the whole thing. Anyway, it's time for another episode of... Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to another episode of my Calgary Hitmen in 6. We're up to episode number 10 here, as we'll cover games 49 to 54 in the 2018-19 WHL schedule here of the regular season. And, if you enjoy everything I do on my channel here, just make sure you hit like, subscribe here, and there's a couple games here that we wound up, took a little trip to the past here. As I said, this is the episode where I recap what happened at the Corral Series here. So pull up my notes here and let's get going here with the next episode here. So anyway, let's bring up Google Docs. So if we go back to game 49 here, this was happening on Friday, February the 1st. Let's say the Calgary Hitmen were rebranded as the Calgary Centennials here. They took on the Brandon Wheat Kings, and that was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Stampede Corral here. Game 1 of the Corral Series here, as Calgary Hitmen were the Calgary Centennials here. And I would say coming in this game, the Brandon Wheat Kings were definitely the hungrier team and took advantage of some Calgary mistakes in the third period here. Also at the time here, Brandon was chasing Calgary Hitmen here for the second and wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference here. So what happened here is that the Calgary Hitmen, or Centennials here, they lost to the Brandon Wheat Kings 6-5 in overtime here. Leading the way for Calgary was still Mark Kastelic and Luke Coleman. Each had 2 goals and assists here. But for Brandon here, Ben McCartney had 2 goals and assists, as well as Alec Willinchuk had 3 assists to lead the way here. And the Brandon Wheat Kings also outshot the Centennials, or Hitmen, 38-32 here. So that was game 49 here and game 1 of the Corral Series here. So the next night here for game 50 that happened on Saturday, February the 2nd, the Calgary Hitmen went up the road here to take on the Red Deer Rebels at the MX Centrium. 7 p.m. puck drop, and the Calgary Hitmen definitely rebounded in a big way here with a 5-1 victory here. Calgary answered back with 4 goals in the second period, plus 1 in the third, after the Red Deer Rebels scored the first goal in the game. Mark Kastelic once again led the way with 2 goals and assists, and Caden Elder had a goal and 2 assists for the Hitmen. James Malm for the Hitmen was also the other guy with a multi-point game with a goal and assist here. And Jack McNaughton, the goalie, definitely turned out big for the Hitmen here as he made 23 saves in the game. And the Hitmen actually outshot the Rebels here 38-24 here, so that's definitely a big divisional win here for the Calgary Hitmen as we get down to the playoff races here. And another thing to note here is that Dakota Krebs and Jeff DeWitt of the Dakota Krebs of the Calgary Hitmen and Jeff DeWitt of the Red Deer Rebels also fought early in the first period here, so maybe that gave a big jolt to the Calgary Hitmen to take the big win against the Red Deer Rebels here. So game 51, this was on Wednesday, February the 6th, the Calgary Hitmen rebranded as the Calgary Cowboys, paying homage to the old WHA team, was taking on the Regina Pats. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Stampede Corral, second game of the Corral Series here. And how to say with this game is that there were chances in the first period, but no scoring here. In the second period, things broke out here as there were an early late goal for Calgary. And the Regina scored 2 goals in the middle there, so it was a 2-2 game after the second period. And then early goals in the third for both sides made it a 3-3 game before Riley Stotts scored the winner with just under 3.5 minutes to go in the third period to take a 4-3 lead, and then that's what was the final score, as the Calgary Hitmen rebounded as the Calgary Cowboys won 4-3 over the Regina Pats here. And who to highlight here is that Caden Elder scored the goal in the second and third period, early in both of those periods for a 2-goal game. And Ty Colley for the Regina Pats actually scored all 3 goals for the hat trick in this game. And overall, the Calgary Hitmen rebounded as the Calgary Cowboys outshot the Pats 38-36 in this game. So that was game 51. So game 52 was Friday, February 8th, as we were taking on the Prince Albert Raiders. This time the Calgary Hitmen were rebranded as the Calgary Wranglers, the last junior team to represent Calgary for the Hitmen here. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Stampede Corral, game 3 of 3 of the Corral Series, and who knows, this could have been possibly the last live major hockey game to be played at the old Stampede Corral, because as you'll see in my other videos when I talk about the Corral Series, the building is slated for demolition as part of the BMO Center expansion plans here. But getting back into the game at hand here, and also the Prince Albert Raiders also got in the spirit of the whole Corral Series as they wore their old jerseys from the 1988-89 season here. And like I said, this game definitely proved that the Prince Albert Raiders were still the top team in the WHL here. I mean, the Rebels strike twice quickly in the first period and quickly in the second period. It was 4-0 for the Prince Albert Raiders early in the second period. It wasn't until Riley Stotts, the Hitmen or Wranglers, as you want to call it for this game, got one late in the second period before the Prince Albert Raiders scored 4 more in the third period. So it was an 8-1 game. Well, late in the third period, this might go down possibly as the last goal to ever be scored at the Stampede Corral. James Malm was awarded the penalty shot for the Wranglers here, and he scored on that one to make it 8-2, and that wound up being the final score. Was the Prince Albert Raiders beat the Calgary Hitmen or the Calgary Wranglers 8-2 in this game for the final game of the Corral Series. And another thing we got to look at the Prince Albert Raiders is this might still potentially be a first round matchup for the Calgary Hitmen, and the way we play with the Raiders this year, hopefully we can move up a few spots so we don't have to draw the top team in the league here. But James Malm for the Hitmen or Wranglers here was the only player with a multi-point game with a goal and assist here. Raiders, they definitely had many players who led the way here. Noah Gregor had the hat trick with 3 goals and assist here. Cole Fonstad had 2 goals and 3 assists in this game to lead away with 5 points, and Braden Pichel and Dante Hanuen, or Braden Pichel had 2 assists, and Dante Hanuen, the last Raider to have a multi-point game with a goal and assist here. And the Raiders also outshot the Hitmen, the Wranglers, 45-23 here. So definitely the Prince Albert Raiders, actually they recently lost their top spot to the Huskies team in the QMJH, Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, but they were still a strong team. Far away the top team in the WHL here. When I get to the standings, you'll definitely see. And thing to note in this game is that Jack McNaughton, who did start the game, actually came out in the first period to challenge the puck here and took a bad hit here, and he'll make the injury list here when I cover that after recapping the game. So Carl Stankowski came with the rest of the game, but I don't think it would have mattered either way. The way the Prince Albert Raiders definitely were literally skating circles around the Calgary Hitmen or Wranglers at the old barn here. So fortunately that was the last game of the Corral Series, but we knew it was going to be a tough game coming in here. So let's go to game 53 here. It's happening on Sunday, February the 10th. The Calgary Hitmen take on the Moose Deer Warriors back at the Scotiabank Saddledome. That was a 4 p.m. puck drop, and the Calgary Hitmen had 2 goals in each period and definitely rebounded after being spanked by the Prince Albert Raiders with a 6-2 win over the Moose Jaw Warriors. Carson Folk led the way with 3 assists in here, and 6 actually different Hitmen players score with Cale Zimmerman, Mark Kaslik, Riley Stotts, Ty Carrier, James Malm, and Caden Elder all each scored here. And definitely nice to have some depth here because injuries have definitely played a role here, especially in this 6-game segment here. And Calgary Hitmen also outshot the Moose Jaw Warriors 39-22 as Karl Stemkowski only needed to make 20 saves in the win here. Another thing to highlight here is that Mark Kaslik also fought Josh Brook in the third period here, and there were definitely some game misconducts dished out mostly for the Warriors players here, so definitely had some exciting action here in the third period here. So now, Game 54, the last game we'll recap in this episode here, happened on Wednesday, February the 13th. The Calgary Hitmen were taking on the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Oddly enough, that Lethbridge Hurricanes, if you look back at my Corral Series videos, whereas the team that was the Calgary Wranglers before they moved to Lethbridge here. This was at the MX Center, 7 p.m. puck drop here, and it's tough to recover when you allow 5 goals in the first period here. That's exactly what happened to the Calgary Hitmen here. They lost 6-2, but after literally being barraged by a Hurricane in the first period here, teams traded goals in the second and third period for the 6-2 loss here. Ryder Korzak, one of the guys that we acquired at the deadline here, and Riley Stotts each had a goal for the Hitmen here. The Hurricanes were led by Jake Leschyshyn with 2 goals and assist here, and Jake Elmer also had 2 goals and assist for the Hurricanes here. Karl Stemkowski did start the game, but Braden Peters took over after 15 minutes there. That's when the barrage of goals happened in the first period there. And, after the first period there, the Calgary Hitmen actually was able to stay with the Hurricanes here and actually outshot them 38-33 in this game. And some more fights happened in this game. Jackson Van der Leest and Colter Milson fought in the second period here, and Lane Toder and Jackson Shepard fought in the third period here. Jackson Van der Leest and Lane Toder are the Hitman players here, and Coltrane Wilson and Jackson Shepard are the Hurricane players here. As I kept saying, injuries here. Here's the latest injury report here, as Dakota Krebs, the defenseman, actually suffered an upper body injury here. One of the leading scorers that you haven't heard much in the last couple episodes, forward Jake Kriske. He has an upper body injury. He's indefinite in that time frame. Hunter Campbell, forward Hunter Campbell, also he has a lower body injury, and he's also indefinite here. And Igor Zamula, who actually lost in the first game in the Corral Series, and actually one of our top defensemen here, he has an upper body injury, but he's day-to-day. And then Jack Manon, the goalie that we lost, who actually has taken over the Nets here in his rookie season. He's actually from Calgary. He has an upper body injury, but thankfully he's only day-to-day, so it looked worse than it actually did on the ice at the Corral there. So that's the injury report for the Calgary Hitmen here, as we're down to the final 14 games here. But some of the games they win, we definitely get depth scoring. But anyway, before we look ahead to the next 6 games here, I just want to bring up the Calgary Hitmen website here and just go over a few stats here, and also just go over the standings here, because the standings are also tightening up here for here in the Eastern Conference here, and the Calgary Hitmen still are in the playoff spot, in the final playoff spot, but ideally if we could avoid the Prince Albert Raiders in the first round, that would be great. So right now the leading scorer for the Calgary Hitmen is Mark Kaslik. He has 38 goals and 24 assists for 62 points. And second is James Malm. He has 23 goals, 34 assists for 57 points. And then Caden Elder is third with 23 goals, 26 assists for 49 points. And then fourth in scoring now is Jake Kriske, who has 19 goals, 27 assists for 46 points. And then right at the top 5 is Riley Stotts with 18 goals, 26 assists, and 44 points. And then our leading defenseman is Igor Zamula with 9 goals, 32 assists for 41 points. And then when it comes to the goaltending stats, Jack Manon is 12-2 with 320 goals against average and 892 save percentage. And then the next goalie who's been the backup, but he's been hurt. But now back in the lineup is Karl Stankowski. He's 7-8, but with a 3.92 goals against average and an 8.74 save percentage here. So that's definitely quick stats there. You can just go to www.hitmanhockey.com to see for yourself how everyone's doing. So when it comes to where the Hitmen rank in the Central Division in the Eastern Conference here, we're 5th in the division, but in the final wildcard spot. Right now, the Edmonton Oil Kings have 68 points in 55 games, and they're leading the Central. Next up is the Medicine Tigers, 55 games, they have 67 points. Then the Lethbridge Hurricanes, in 54 games, have 66 points. And then the Red Deer Rebels, in 52 games, have 61 points. And then the Calgary Hitmen, 54 games, they're 28 wins, 21 losses, 4 overtime losses, and 1 shootout loss, have 61 points here. Puts them 5th in the division here. But if you look at the East Division here, Prince Albert, in 55 games, has 94 points, so they're definitely right ahead. They're 46, 7, 0, and 2. Then the Saskatoon Blades in 56 games are 78 points. And the Moose Jaw Warriors are 3rd in the East Division with 52 games. They have 68 points. But the Hitmen are still comfortably ahead of the Brandon Wheat Kings. They're 4th in the East Division, but they're outside looking in when you look at the wild card here. In 53 games, they have 55 points. So they have a game in hand, but the Calgary Hitmen still have a 6-point lead on the Brandon Wheat Kings here. So let's look ahead to the schedule here for the next 6 games here. So game 55 will be Friday, February the 15th. The Calgary Hitmen will take on the Medicine Tigers here at Calgary at the Scotiabank Saddledome. So that's definitely a potential big swing there for playoff races. And then game 56 on Saturday, February the 16th, the Calgary Hitmen take on the Medicine Tigers again, but this time in Medicine at the Canalta Center at 7:30 puck drop. That's game 56. Game 57 would be on Wednesday, February the 20th. The Calgary Hitmen take on the Brandon Wheat Kings in Brandon at the Westovia Place, 6 p.m. puck drop. So that's definitely a huge game here to definitely separate themselves away from the Brandon Wheat Kings and likely solidify themselves in a playoff spot here. So game 58, Friday, February the 22nd, the Calgary Hitmen take on the Regina Pats, and they're far out of the playoff spot, so this hopefully is a game to be had at the Brandt Center. That's a 6 p.m. puck drop. And then game 59, Saturday, February the 23rd, the Calgary Hitmen take on the Swiss Current Broncos. That's another team that's well below and out of a playoff spot, so hopefully that's points to be had. And lately the Hitmen have been winning against those teams that are way out of it, and they haven't been able to play spoil on us at least. That's at the Innovation Credit Union Hyplex. That's a 6 p.m. puck drop. And the game 60 here, this would be more for the school kids. On Wednesday, February the 27th, we take on the Swift Current Broncos at home at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Puck drop's 11 a.m., but I know this is the 3rd annual TELUS, Be Brave bullying game, and I think this is a game where all the kids, get lectures about bullying, and I know last year I saw pictures that you got to see a pink in the Scotiabank Saddledome here, and I think over 16,000 fans took in the game here. So game 60 is definitely more for the school kids here, but hopefully they'll enjoy that. But this is definitely the latest episode of my Calgary Hitmen in 6 here. So if you enjoy everything I do, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow me on my YouTube channel. I also do this for the Calgary Flames, and then they got the Calgary Roughnecks. Their season's going on, and I still plan on doing the Calgary Stampeders. You can look back on that, how I did this past season when I covered the Stampeders, but I still plan on doing a second season of that when CFL season gets going on. And as I mentioned at the beginning there, I'll make a separate video on just my experience and share my photos and a couple of clips that I captured at the Corral Series here, which definitely was an awesome experience, and nice way to say goodbye to the old building there. So, as I always say, I'll see you at the next video.